What's going on, everyone? Jeremy here from The Quartering. I hope you're all doing well. And I thought with all the doom and gloom, it'd been a while since we got to point and laugh at some entitled journos, to laugh at some of the absolute drivel they put out under the guise of journalism, which is, of course, why I believe I was the first to coin the term urinalism. Well, probably not the first, but I'll say maybe I helped popularize it. Over the last week, there's been a slew of some of the most heinously stupid articles I've ever seen, starting with World of Warcraft, then Overwatch complaining that Overwatch, of all things, is not inclusive enough. That's right, Overwatch, the one with Asians, black folks, Indians, white people, Egyptians, Latinos, bisexuals, robots, everything. That game is not inclusive enough. It's never enough for these people, which is why we get to point and laugh. Hey, if you're enjoying the videos, all I ask is you remember to leave a like on the video, leave a comment in the comment section down below, subscribe if you want daily notifications just to help. I know a lot of you just listen and enjoy the smooth, sultry tones of my voice, and that's okay too. But if you're looking at my rugged, good look face, then that's also good. Ideally, you're doing both. Let's jump right into an article I noticed yesterday. This actually dropped yesterday from Vice Games, which, if you don't know who Vice Games is, you're probably like most people, but it's actually the defunct Waypoint. Waypoint was a video game urinalism site that was mostly kind of SJW video game articles, but it failed on its own and it ended up getting absorbed into Vice. And this is why. The user-generated content found in World of Warcraft is just one example of how far-right extreme folks are infiltrating online platforms and video games. No jokes. That's right, no fun in video games. And the type of people that read this drivel, I don't know, they must be brain dead. That's the only thing I can think. Some of the most hilariously dumb killjoys I've ever ran into in my life. Now, you might be wondering, boy, that's a pretty bad ratio, getting ratioed by this, the Quartering. Oh, by the way, if you use Twitter, follow me at The Quartering. It's one of the best ways to actually find out that I produce new videos, or you could follow me on Minds. I always post there too. But let's actually take a look at this article. Boop, boop, boop. Congressman shames Blizzard for letting the bad guys from SJW run wild in World of Warcraft. Now, I've played World of Warcraft on and off over the years. Obviously, I'm in a bit of a hiatus right now. It still pains me. Today is the day that my subscription actually runs out. So that's it. My characters will be gone, deleted forever. That's all right. I'm cruising right along in Final Fantasy XIV. I'm up to level 20. I'm starting to get into it a little bit, having a little bit of fun. The user-generated content found in World of Warcraft is just one of the examples, he said. A California, shocking, congressman is calling out Blizzard for allowing the bad guys from SJW to roam Azeroth. There's so many of them. I don't know about you. I've played World of Warcraft on and off for something like 10 years. I've literally never run into anybody who spouted anything about other people's skin color or anything like that. But apparently they're running wild everywhere where I'm not. Representative Lou Correa of Anaheim shamed the company on Twitter after a member of his staff who plays the legendary MMORPG noticed other players hosting a Halloween costume contest inside the game. That's right. Here's Rep. By the way, a congressman. Okay, so here's the funny thing. Vice thought this was worth an article. A congressman, blue checkmark, who mustered just 250 likes on this tweet, said, "I was looking forward to welcoming you to Anaheim for your 13th annual BlizzCon. Instead, I find myself asking, how can this exist in one of your games? The FBI knows online indoctrination is real. I hope you agree and will remedy this immediately. Of course, we have Horrigan from the Enclave clan, which has a bit of a spicy reputation, saying, next stop, Charlottesville, wearing a white robe with a couple of tan individuals next to him. Hardy har har. It's a joke. It's a joke. You're totally entitled to not find it funny, Representative Luke Correa, but it's still a joke, and it's totally harmless. Who is the victim here? Seriously. And by the way, this just perpetuates the idea that if you make a joke, that you are the embodiment of that joke. Look, I can make a joke about, what's the difference between a picnic table and insert some group of people. That doesn't make you like an evil person. You could tell a joke, especially if you tell it ironically. It's just a bit of fun. You may not like it, but of course, it's not going well for him. Most of the replies to him are involving the word boomer. Of course, he got no traction at all on this, except for Vice, which picked it up because apparently this is news. The player who runs an... Okay, first of all, an anti-Semitic guild called the Enclave. Any evidence of that, or are you just going to write it? You're just going to write it? Okay, great. I guess I'll just have to believe you because, after all, you're a journalist for Vice. Had his avatar dressed up in white robes and a white hood. An obvious allusion to the clan. With two avatars appearing beside him, one named Jesse Jackson, referring to the civil rights leader. By the way, Jesse Jackson should be mocked. He's a grifter. He is an absolute fraud, and I hope more people make fun of him. The player commented, next stop, Charlottesville, in a screenshot taken by a staffer, posted by Correa. I guarantee the staffer didn't take that picture. Referring to this, blah, blah, blah. Yes, it's a joke. It's a joke. Stop all jokes in video games. He goes on to saying, by allowing the Supreme's refuge, companies inadvertently create safe harbors that extreme folks can legit leverage to recruit and indoctrinate other people. Oh, yeah. Like, the entire video game industry isn't doing the same thing. Like, I'm not going to go down that road too deeply, but let's be honest here. Elizabeth Warren is more Native American than the percentage of people in these video games that actually believe these things. Yet this is what grabs headlines, so they write it. And it smears all World of Warcraft players, even though most of us have never, ever encountered any of this. The Enclave itself has been a guild on multiple games since 1998, according to its leader, who has posted threads all over the internet trying to recruit for it. One post in the gaming message board from 5 years ago notes that players need thick skin to join. Shocking! They even advertise they enjoy edgy humor. This is just another boomer that's out there talking about how jokes are literally the devil. If you can't handle the profanity or adult subjects, you would be better suited in another guild. Great. So if you don't want to join this guild, if you don't want to, as Correa would put it, be subjected to this, you have every ability, every right to not join that guild. Though the guild is not blatantly racist in its recruiting posts, they say things we don't like. Like they make a joke about being sponsored by bad companies. It's a joke. Members of the guild suggested that now, with congressional attention, they are worried about getting doxxed. And they should be, because that's what happens. In recent weeks, Blizzard came under fire after it slapped... Yes, we all know. Online posts suggest the leader of the Enclave received only a temporary days-long ban for words we don't like, but Motherboard couldn't confirm it with Blizzard, which did not respond to multiple requests for comment. So you're harassing these players who make jokes that you don't like. Congratulations, boomer. Video games aren't for you. And then we have an excellent article by a friend of the channel, Sophia Narwitz, at SophNar0747, entitled "Game Journalists Are Mad That Super Inclusive Overwatch Isn't Diverse as They'd Like." One of the most diverse AAA games on the market is facing criticism for not being diverse enough. This is a perfect example of why you don't give in to these people. Look, I think you should do whatever you want, or especially if it's organic. But when you start, answering to the blue checkmark mob about how your game doesn't check all the right boxes, you're never going to please them. It's the same people that demand an apology. Unless you nail it, they're probably not going to forgive you, and there will be large groups of people that still will demand more, making it the perfect example on how to highlight how nothing will satisfy those who cry for inclusivity. After receiving widespread backlash due to punishing a pro esports player who expressed solidarity with Hong Kong, Blizzard Entertainment made the predictable move and once again broke the glass on emergency diversity PR. Ha! Nice wording. Here we have Lauren. In other news, Overwatch added a new hero today who is black, which is cool. But there's also still no black female heroes. It never ends. There's no androgynous tree people heroes either. Although this time, instead of retroactively making an in-game Overwatch character gay to deflect criticism... Indy! Hey! Oh, you quiet. As the company did in 2018, it has introduced a black female to appease woke game journalists who lament that the game is not inclusive enough. Here we have Heather Alexandria of the floundering Kotaku.com. For real, though, the fact that people can't get this in their head, or I don't know, listen to the folks who can, are telling them this is wild. Overwatch has 2 robots, 2 cowboys, a freaking hamster, before it adds a black woman. It's exhausting to watch fans bend over backwards to deny what's literally a fact. That's right. Every game should launch with about 75 characters representing as much as of this both real and made up groups of people as they possibly can. That's what they should spend their money on. Now, not to make a good game. Yes, Overwatch, an online game with Indian, Haitian, autistic, gay, bisexual, black, white, Asian, Egyptian, Latino characters, which checks other identity boxes, has been deemed not inclusive enough by today's media. It's a crime? They don't have a bona fide black female character. Never mind, it has other women and men of color, one which is from Africa, but they aren't up to par because either they don't have ovaries or they aren't dark enough. Throughout the past years, mainstream gaming journalist sites like Kotaku have raised issue at the lack of the playable black female. Now with the announcement in Overwatch 2 and a new hero named Sojourn, you'd think they'd finally be happy, but while writing about the sequel, they decided to take the entitlement to a whole new level. As Nathan Grayson writes, it's something else to run a game for 3.5 years and add numerous heroes to it and fail to represent a sizable segment of the populace who have asked to be included countless times. I'm going to guess that there's less than 100 black females that play Overwatch. I'm just saying. Prove me wrong, Overwatch. Prove me wrong, Nathan Grayson. That's the thing a lot of... maybe. I mean, 100 is probably some hyperbole, but you get it. It's not a sizable portion of their audience. It just isn't. And this is the thing that a lot of these urinalists will talk about. You don't have enough representation for this group, which is a huge audience. But in reality, it represents 0.0003% of the U.S. population and an even smaller number of actual gamers. It's ridiculous. They write this kind of stuff for likes and retweets through the ultra woke on Twitter, and that's it. They can't even possibly believe what they say. Only to be sent back to the line. One character among a roster of 31 is not pandering. That's an absolute bare minimum. Right. That's from the same clique of journalists who constantly push the notion of the entitled gamer. I hate to repeat their rhetoric, but the entitled gamer does exist. It's just the images of their own mirrors and not the faux demons hiding in their closets. While their reaction is not too surprising, what sticks out most is how mad they are at the wrong thing. A strong argument can be made about Blizzard's diversity being nothing more than a ploy to help market the game, which I would agree with. The type of person as means to an end of controversy, as they have a habit of introducing certain elements when they're being boiled alive in waves of anger. It's hollow and disingenuous pandering to the nth degree. I've been playing Overwatch since the day it came out. I love the game, but this is irritating. 31 characters and not one of them is a black woman. By the way, fun fact, none of the people asking about this, upset about this, are black women. That might shock you. That might shock you to know. We've got a pink hair here. We've got another pink hair here. We've got a dude with a tan avatar, Imran Khan. None of these people are black females that seem to be complaining about. Heather Alexandria is not a black female. Lauren, another outraged white chick, wine mom. Is that what you call them? And then you get this article. By the way, excellent article by Sophia. You should read through the rest of it. I don't want to give up all of it. Then you have why it took so long for World of Warcraft to add diverse human customization options. Now at BlizzCon this year, they added more customization options that literally nobody was asking for. I mean, you can play as an undead character, you can play as a dwarf, you can play as all sorts of things. You have, I would say, honestly, for a modern day character customization options, it's definitely on the lighter end. But it's not like you have no options. And again, you can play as an undead character. You can play as all sorts of weird things, not just the normal colors you see every day on the street. Or if you're journalists, I don't know. They don't leave their houses, so I'm not sure where they see it. During the BlizzCon interview, executive producer John Haidt explained that it came down to a technology issue. WoW was 15 years old and the good old-fashioned analysis paralysis. Why not sooner is largely technological, Haidt told Kotaku. It's taken us a while. We've had to modify the character models. We are limited. We don't have infinite ability to pull every piece of somebody's geometry. Essentially, he's answering the question, hey, you gave us these cool things now, but why wasn't it sooner? Modern day journalism is a joke. I hope you enjoyed this variety roast. We'll talk to you again real soon.